Okay, you got this great idea and you want to start a business and you want to manufacture your product overseas to get the lowest cost, but you don't know what it's going to take and how much money you're going to spend to get going. Watch this video because I'm going to go through all the things you need to do and how much does it actually cost to have your product manufactured overseas. Okay, everybody, Stephen Key here, and I have a special guest, Caleb. Thank you for joining us at inventRight TV. How are you today?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Well, we had you on before briefly, and you work with the company that helps people manufacture the products and sell them anywhere in the world. So tell us a little bit about you and your company.
Yeah, absolutely. So like last time, if everybody watched the video, I work for a company called BSense. I handle a lot of client relations and product development for our team. So our team are based out of the United States, Europe, and China. All of our manufacturing is done through China, and that's where our whole engineering team, about 15 engineers, are out there.
Okay.
And so we help people take the daunting task of manufacturing and developing the product from the United States and take it to China. So,
Well, thank you for doing that because it's I've spent some time in the Far East. It's not easy to figure that all out and have someone over there that can kind of make sure it's done right is very important. So let's talk about it. I have a new idea, and maybe I have a prototype, works pretty good, and it's not perfect. It could probably be cleaned up a little bit, of course, and it's definitely not
mhm.
something that could be manufactured right out the door because I made it myself. And
Yeah,
maybe even had someone help me make it, a prototype here in the States. And that's about all. I don't even have CAD drawings. It's a pretty basic guy. So what do I do? I reach out to you. Can you go through the process a little bit of what you do when you see a product at that stage?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, we inquire, I guess, projects or products at all various stages from a napkin sketch to someone that has their complete bill of materials and like, hey, this is exactly what I want. So if you're at that first stage of, say, a napkin sketch, we can hop on a meeting, we can talk through it and help put, I guess, pen to paper or more than pen to paper because you've already done that. But um, I think the most important thing that people miss and they miss out on is getting the CAD file, getting the step file specifically, STP or STEP file that will set you up for success with
Okay.
whatever manufacturer that you go with. And that's what our company can help to take and develop. So going from the napkin sketch to putting it into a CAD drawing.
Okay.
Um, and then from there, we can accurately get you a quote. So,
Okay. Let's talk about what is a CAD drawing. Some people don't even know what that is. What is that?
oh man, it's a mechanical engineer will go in into our software, probably AutoCAD, and they'll go in, they'll sketch each and every detail, we'll get the precise measurements, the precise draft angles, and then it'll be tweaked to say whatever design that you're looking and going for. Say it's a new innovative bottle cap that needs to screw onto a off the shelf bottle. So we can develop that bottle cap to make sure that it mechanically fits that bottle cap perfectly.
Okay.
Um,
And these CAD drawings, what are they used for?
They're used for accurately going out and getting quotes. So it gives us the precise measurements, the precise,
Okay.
I guess, materials, how it would look, like what happens when we cross section a product. What does it look like on the inside? What
Okay.
is going on? A lot of those small details are things that people don't really think about, but play a large and important role into
Okay.
pricing and manufacturing processes. So
Okay. So that's the first step. I've got this prototype. We have this call with you, and you determine that, hey, we need some CAD drawings here to figure this out. Uh,
yeah,
so how expensive is that? Is that something, is there a range or is it same price for all of it? Give people an idea what that cost.
yeah, absolutely. There's definitely a range. I mean, it varies on what your product is, what kind of documentation that you have for us to go off of. How much are we going to have to think on like just with our brains, like, hey, what do we think that these measurements are going to be, or what do they need to be based
Okay.
off of your requirements? So the more, I guess, creativity that you give us, probably the more it's going to cost. The more that you have it defined for us and putting it more in a box, I think it'd be a little bit cheaper. And that can range anywhere from, I mean, a couple grand to $20,000, I would say. I mean, I would say 20 is on the high end, but a few thousand is usually enough just to be able to get you an accurate quote. So
That's really great. Those CAD drawings are pretty darn important because you're going to build a product from those CAD drawings, right?
right, yeah, they need to be exactly what you're looking for. So we like to go through rounds of revisions where we're sending you like prototypes that we've made from the CAD drawings and ensuring that
Okay.
this is what you want and this is how it functions, is it functioning properly. So
Oh, that's great. So you do the CAD drawings. How long does that take?
I mean that's also a very relative question. Like it could take a month, it could take 2 weeks,
Okay.
it could take 2 months. I haven't really seen it take longer than that, depending on what it is. But if it's just some injection molded part, I mean, we could knock that out within a few weeks, I would say.
Okay, so I get the CAD drawings, I meet with you, and you guys work on it for 30 days, and you determine that, hey, we need to see a prototype, right? So I can kind of sign off. That's what I want. How long does it take from the CAD drawings to get that first prototype?
I'd say, I mean, about the same. So like once we finish the CAD drawings, it'd be probably another 2 to 4 weeks to where we can assemble it in house, put that together, and ship you out a professional looking prototype to where you can go and show investors or
Oh,
companies or whoever it may be, like, hey, this is how my product functions. This is what it would look like. Um, so yeah.
so it's actually going to be a prototype that functions and I can actually use it. Do I have to be careful it could break? Is there some limitations to that?
Probably, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
depending on the product, obviously, but there's going to be some limitations for sure. But if it can be just about any kind of product, and we can make it to where it is either the straight from like the manufacturer, like where it would be from.
Okay.
So it's going to be close to the specs of what it would be when you go to mass production, or it's just something that we assemble in house that is still going to be that high quality
Okay.
of what the customer is looking for.
Is it going to be out of the right material, this prototype? Will it be the same materials that will be in production? Yes or no?
Yeah, I mean, also varies. So if we're gearing up for manufacturing and we're like getting ready to place the tooling, like we buy the tooling and everything like that, that'll be straight from the manufacturer.
Okay.
So if we're going straight to mass production and we're looking to get a sample before we enter into mass production, that'll be straight from the
No, but
factory.
wait a minute. I want to look at the prototype first because I'm not quite sure that's what I want.
Yes, so that's what I was about to say. So if it's the prototype, it's most likely going to be from our factory, from our engineering team.
Okay.
It'll be components of the real thing, but also might be some 3D printed parts.
Got it. Do you paint it
Yeah,
the right color? I mean, is it something where I could take that prototype and take beautiful photographs, put it in my
yeah,
catalog to start selling it? Is something I can do with that?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And if I need more than one, let's say I have a couple customers, I want to show it, I want to demo it, maybe at a trade show. What are the, first of all, what does that prototype cost? And how do, I'm sure there's a range too. But
Yeah.
what does it cost if I want like more than just one?
I would say it stays pretty flat. I mean, it'll go down the more units you order, obviously, but
Okay.
yeah, I mean, you can order as many as you want. You can break them like what you were saying. You can tear them apart and figure out how it works, put it to the test, and then we can go back and we can do a whole nother round of revisions and do more. So
So what are we talking cost? Another range again from simple to complex.
usually, most of the time when we quote out projects, I would say it's lumped into the two. Like, hey, we can do your CAD and a prototype, say for $5,000.
Got it.
We'll ship it to you for free, um, something like that. It's usually lumped into the two. We usually want to provide a physical prototype for someone that's getting CAD drawings because I think it's important to see it in
Yeah,
hand.
you got to. How many revisions can I make? Because it's not going to be perfect.
Yeah, usually I would say it's around one round of revisions
Okay.
is I would say is usually enough. And but once it starts getting over that, um,
Okay.
you obviously eventually have to start charging more. So
Got it. All right. So I got the CAD drawings. They look really great. I like it. We built this prototype. It works beautifully. I'm happy with it. Maybe one revision. And now I'm going, hey, I want, I want some product now. I want you to ship me some product. What's the minimum quantity?
yeah, it can vary around from like depending on the product. So if it's something that's very niche and specific, I mean, we could do something maybe around 300 to 500 units. The
Okay.
cost is going to be high. I mean, I would say it would be lower than a unit cost of what you would get in the United States, but it's going to be higher relatively. But I would say usually a sweet spot for our solo entrepreneurs is around 1,000 units, and that's a decent price.
Okay.
That's enough to get product moving, I think. So
Okay. So you're now we're in production. Okay, and I want 1,000 units. And I think we talked about this before. I
mhm.
just don't want you to ship it. I need it in a box so I can send you over graphics and you can put it on the box and you can send the whole thing so it's like perfect. I can put it on the shelf.
Yeah, we love to help with that. I think that that's a very important part. While we already have it in our, I guess, assembly line, I think it's important just to go ahead and put it in the packaging. I think it
Okay,
saves time and money. And so, yeah, if you got the graphics, I mean, we can help a little bit with that, but we
okay.
can come up with a scheme of, hey, how do you want to package this? Do you want it to be in plastic? Do you want it to be in whatever you may desire? So.
So before we start this, do we sign a contract of when you're going to deliver it and the cost, everything else? Is that the way that works as well? Or is it done contract in each stages or how does that work?
Yeah, so typically within our invoice that we send out, it spells out everything. So 60% is due up front, 40% is due upon completion,
Mm,
and it goes through all the terms and conditions upon the first payment. So that is our contract within the invoice. So
nice. What are the typical mistakes people make? I mean, if you were to prepare someone that's coming in, what would you tell them to do so it's really smooth with you guys
mm,
for both parties?
I would say really know your product, and that might sound really dumb because
Right.
like obviously it is your product, and I think that you know it obviously better than anyone else. But I think that where people really miss is being able to explain your product and
Yeah.
explain what you're trying to accomplish and think about those nitty gritty details like what is the material, what is the color, um, how do you want this to be, like explain it, spell it out for us. I
Okay.
think a lot of people will just come in and be like, this is my idea, and it makes sense in their brain, but the way that they're explaining it is not good. So
Hmm. Okay. So really know what you want. Okay. So
yeah, yeah, know your product like the back of your hand. Like you could explain it and pitch it to me right on the spot.
so to do
Tell me
that, do
how
you
it works.
recommend them maybe doing some prototyping, 3D, let's say 3D printing of the prototype, use it, know what works and what's that, test it yourself, really have some experience with it. That might help with the IP too, but really know your product. I guess that's what you're saying. So build prototypes, make sure they work or they fail, or really determine what you want. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah. And if you go to someone before us, I mean, make sure you're getting a step file. If anyone is doing any kind of design, they can most likely get you that step file. Get that because that is going to make it for easier for any engineer in the
How,
future to edit that.
how is that different from a CAD file? Or is it a
A
CAD
step
file?
file, yeah, it is a CAD file. It's
Oh,
within CAD, but it's the way that you export the file.
got it. Okay.
Yeah,
Caleb, this is great stuff. You really
yeah,
went down the list of what we need to do. Um,
absolutely. I think one more thing that I would like to add is manufacturing can obviously be daunting. And there's so many ways, like you can obviously go the licensing route, which is great. You can go the manufacturing route, which is great. There's so many different avenues and different price points. But I think that people need to focus on and do what is, I guess, financially reasonable and responsible for them. And like with manufacturing, I don't think that you can step into it and be like, oh, I'm only going to spend $4,000 on this and I'm going to get 1,000 units. I don't think that is ever going to happen. It has to be the most simple product ever for that to happen. So I would say come into it budgeting at least $10,000 to $20,000 to even get your product to market. So
thank you for being real about the number, the steps, the time it takes. I really love it. Everybody's going to appreciate it. Thank you so much. This is wonderful. Hey, if you have an idea and you want to manufacture it, check out all the information down below. This is the guy, this is the company that's going to make sure your product looks great when you have it on that store shelf and you want to manufacture overseas or someplace like that. And get in the business of venturing. See, everybody thinks we're all about licensing, but we're about venturing too. It's not my favorite, but I know a lot of people want to touch it, feel it, and sell it. So thank you very much for coming on inventRightTV.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
If you're not sure about this and you need a little help, please give us a call. We have a program called Gateway where we do everything for you. We know how to reach out to the right companies. We know how to reach out to the right people. We know how to make sure your marketing material is communicating correctly so they can look at it, they can make good decisions. We know what questions they're going to ask, and we can be prepared for those questions in advance. And when that licensing agreement comes over, we can help make sure it's a fair and balanced licensing agreement so everybody's happy. Basically, we're doing all the work for you. It's our program called Gateway, and if you need help on any of this, please pick up the phone, call us, and let's see if Gateway is right for you.